Hey solos, I have another solo story for you today, and I'm really excited about it because this one is about Run Disney. Hi everyone, it's Samantha. Olaf may not know who Samantha is, but now you do. And welcome to Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World, now in its second year. As I said, this solo story is about the Run Disney events. Now, Run Disney is a series of different running marathon type events that you can participate in that goes from 5K all the way up to a full marathon. They have them at Disneyland as well as Disney World, and they have them multiple times a year, although not lately because it is going to be too hot coming up in the summer. But the next one will be in the fall. And the Run Disney events are so cool as someone who's not a runner from the outside looking in, because so many people dress up. They it just feels like such a sense of community. And I think I do tell this story with Jenna, but going to a Run Disney event was actually the first time I considered going to Disney solo. I was thinking that it would give me a goal to work towards, to condition my body to run. My body does not actually like to run, so that is not the goal we're going for anymore. But I was it conditioned my body. I can do some fitness goals. But then when I get there, I can be oh yeah, I'm going to achieve this particular goal of participating in the 5K or the 10K. And I'll be able to meet a whole bunch of people. I'd be able to create an outfit and do a whole thing. And I was just thinking that would be a really good excuse to go solo. This was in my 30s when it was in between going with family and going with a partner. And then, in my late 30s, early 40s, which is the now period, the now era, where I definitely don't need an excuse to go. But the Run Disney events was something that I used as a way to think about going by myself in a way that kind of made sense, that seemed like I didn't need to explain it to anybody. Now, here's the thing. I never went because my body is not a running body. And also, you have to get up really early in the morning, and my body is also not a waking up in the early morning type of gal. But there are so many people that do that. And when Jenna got in touch with me and said, I do the Run Disney events, that's how I found your podcast, by wanting some Disney podcasts to listen to while I was training, I was yeah, this is such a great opportunity to talk about the Run Disney events to runners, if you are a runner like Jenna, or someone who wants to run like my former self did. Now my current self is it's okay. We have other goals, like hiking. My body's good with hiking. Anyway, whatever, you don't care. So I think that this conversation, it was such a great opportunity to learn about the Run Disney events, and I hope you find it really exciting too. Now, remember, this podcast now has a Patreon, and one of the benefits of the Patreon for the Mickey Bar and Dole Whip tiers, which, the Mickey Bar tier is $5 Canadian, which is $3 American. The Dole Whip tier is $10 Canadian, which is about $7 to $8 American, so not a lot of money. But one of the benefits of the Patreon is that you can watch our conversation on YouTube, which is a really cool perk, I think, because the conversations are always so much fun. So I think that actually watching them is probably going to be more fun for you than listening to them. So make sure you join us on Patreon so that you can also watch the conversation with Jenna. The other thing that's really great about the Patreon is that now we have a space and a community to have conversations. And I actually, Jenna said that she would be willing to come back on the podcast at some point in the future if people have questions, and we can do a live Q&A with her on video to answer questions about the Run Disney events. And I would love to do that. So you can send me a DM through Instagram, or you can send me an email. My email is below because I have learned some of you are not on social media, or you can join the Patreon and send me a DM through there to let me know if that would be useful, because I actually think that would be super useful. The other thing that was really great about the talk with Jenna is that she inspired me to create some other content around the Run Disney events, just a bonus episode that is a bit of a cheerleading cheerleading bonus episode that I think would be really cool. So I'm going to do that coming up for the next Run Disney event. The other thing is that if you aren't able to travel to Walt Disney World to do a Run Disney event, they also do virtual runs in the summer, and they also do it around Christmas. And they've actually done one like in the spring as well because they realize that people are really into them. Now, before I was recording this introduction, this is a very long introduction, BTW. Before I was recording this introduction, I looked at the Run Disney events or the virtual Run Disney events, and they are actually sold out for the summer. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to record a short-ish Patreon bonus episode about the virtual Run Disney events, what they're about, how you can do them, and then I'm going to invite you to join like a solo story virtual, not Run Disney, but like a virtual kind of like walking or running club this summer to talk about some other options other than doing the Disney one, since that one is sold out, and that will be available for the Dole Whip tier. So anyway, again, it'd be really cool if you joined, and you can listen to that bonus episode on the virtual Run Disney events on Patreon, but you can also join our little, my little join a little solo story, kind of like Run Disney, Walk Disney, Hike Disney summer walking series. I think that'd be really cool. We can start in May. And anyway, so check out Patreon for that, and that'll be available for the Dole Whip tier. Okay, that was a lot of introduction. Remember, you can listen to this on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. I know you're listening on one of those three. Feel free to listen on all of them, or at least mark them as played, so that bumps up our numbers. I love that so much. And please make sure you rate and review and subscribe and all of those things. That is such an invaluable way to support the podcast in its second year. You can follow me on Instagram and on Facebook and on Threads. I'm the most active on Instagram if you want to get in touch with me. Jenna's information is below, but she's not like a content creator, so she doesn't have a lot of like public social media. So again, if you have questions, it'd be really, really cool to do like a video Q&A with her, and I can set that all up on Patreon and all that stuff. So, all right, exciting stuff. I should just say another Patreon thing is that there's going to be 2 solo stories in May. They are both incredible. I'm so excited to share those with you. So again, it's a really good time to join Patreon for the month of May and listen and watch and participate in all the things that I'm setting up there. All right, long introduction. Let's get right into it. It was such a fun talk. They're all fun. This one was super fun. Jenna, I'm so excited for this conversation. I'm so excited for a lot of reasons, and I'm really happy you got in touch. I'm really excited. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I am Jenna, and I'm going to preface, I'm a type A personality. So both with my running and Disney, they equal that so well. Like when I joke with my friends, Disney matches my energy. So then if you think about me as a runner, then there you have it.
So Jenna got in touch because she's like, oh no, I do run Disney events. And I was like, excellent, let's come on. And so I'm really excited to talk about the Run Disney things. But I just love how you say that Disney matches your energy, because it's such a shape shifting type energy, right? Because if you wanted it to be a chill, not you, Jenna, because you obviously are type A, but if you just wanted like a really chill vacation, it can do that too. Like I just put up the episode with Tina, the travel life of T, and she's like, it's so relaxing. So it's so funny that you're like, I'm type A. I need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so I do Disney different than, I full disclosure, have a husband and 2 children that I'm raising. So when I do Disney with them, Disney looks a lot different for me because I am very specific to them and where they're at and what their needs. My husband struggles with anxiety, so we always find a hotel or a resort that is easy access from the parks that he can come back and forth from and all that. So I manage that. But when it's just me, I'm like, oh, where have I not haven't tried before? Where's, a restaurant I'd like to eat at? Those are the kind of things I think more about, which is a lot of fun for me. So,
Well, that's something similar that Tina and I talked about as well, because it is also shape shifting depending on who you're with. And that if you really love Disney, you know that after you go with your family, you also need to go solo.
yes, yes. Anyone that has been to Disney multiple times with other people can so respect and appreciate how much fun it is to go by yourself because you know the system, you know how to work it, and you know the things you've missed out on because you're doing it for other people.
Yeah, for sure. Although I just want to put a caveat that even if you don't know the system that well, you should still go solo.
Yes, and you
Yeah,
can go solo.
yeah. So, can you tell us about your Disney journey? Like how you've become a run Disney, solo Disney, family Disney adult?
So I started going to Disney with my mom and dad and my brother and my family, my extended family. And I remember being 5 years old in a camper. And at the time, we did the Fort Wilderness, where we actually went to that water park that's now closed down.
Yeah.
I never got eating amoeba to the best of my knowledge, but I've heard rumors or like urban legend that those were possibilities. But that being said, like I remember those memories, but they're more vague. I also remember going to the Polynesian in fifth grade and my dad making a random comment, we could just go to Hawaii for the same cost that we're doing the Polynesian at
He's not
Disney World.
wrong.
He's not wrong. But back then, I did, and I remember this, my brother wasn't old enough yet, but I got to do the backstage tour as a kid. So it was kind of in and I don't remember how or my mom's research on this, but it must have been more oriented to kids. So I remember going in the utilitors and I remember seeing all that as like a little 12-year-old child. But now it's like those are like more of adult things or guided tours that are more for adults kind of a thing. So it's interesting that I have those recollections of it. So my mom and dad moved to Florida, and when I had kids, we went down and took our kids in July in like the worst time. We had no idea what fast passes were. My husband and I had no idea what fast passes were or anything. I think we went on 3 rides. We both looked at each other. We're like, we'll never be back till the kids are 18. Fast forward, we've been back multiple times, and I have always been a runner, high school through college, always been a runner. So when I found out about these Run Disney things, I'm like, oh, that's perfect. My initial thoughts was to bring my family, but I will tell you, I've done lots of other races. Marathon runner and all that kind of stuff where it's a little bit of a hurdle hassle to bring your family to just because they're running around trying to see you. You're getting up really early. Your focus is on the run. It's not that it can't be fun for other people in your party, but it's less fun for them. And so for me, and even just conversations with my husband, it's just like, let me just go and do these things. So my first Run Disney was in 2018. I did Princess 10K. My mom had a stroke and she was medically in the hospital and stuff. So I came to visit my mom and my dad during that time. And that's when this 10K was. So my mom's like, go do your race. So I was staying with them doing a race. So I was off site, went and did a Run Disney event, have that experience. But that was on my own while I was visiting my mom. And then I did Dopey Challenge in 2023, which is a 5K on Thursday, a 10K on Friday, a half marathon on Saturday, and a full marathon on Sunday.
I just want you to know my whole body is like anxiety. Like, please make sure
Yes.
nobody makes me do this.
Yes. When I tell you, so I've qualified for Boston and run Boston. So that's
Wow.
the level of my running that I do. Like I'm that person. But that being said, when I trained for this, it was unlike any other training I've ever done because you literally train to be on your legs, on your feet for 4 days, multiple races. And when I tell you it is friendly for all levels, I cannot express that enough. It is people literally just walk the 5K. It's not timed. There's no one trying to kick you off or anything like that. You just got to get done before the parks open. And when you start at 5 o'clock in the morning and it's 3 miles, you can usually get done before the parks open. So, but it's so friendly and it's fun, like people dressing up in characters. And so there's a whole nother level. So then in February, okay, so I had to get on to register in January. That is a whole nother level of competition for Disney people. That is the craziest. You have like three different things open. You're like constantly refreshing. You're like texting other people, did you get in? Did you get in? It's a whole nother level of stress. But once you get in, and that's a decision you make in January, then the race is in February. So that is kind of the lineage of this, the life of my Run Disney.
Well, what I think is really interesting when you said like it's hard for your visitors, your people to come and watch you. And when I see any of the Run Disney events, it really seems like such a community on the racetrack. What is it called? Like the
Yes,
right,
yes. The
the
course, the
course,
course,
that's it.
yeah.
It seems like such a community on the course with cast members and like cast members in costume and like photo opportunities and all the other runners and walkers who are in costume. And it seems like people from the outside who aren't part of that immediate happening at that moment community can just kind of throw off the energy. Like to me, it'd be like, oh, yeah, 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 I know you're here too, but like, look how cool it'd be to pose with all these people, right? So to me, like,
Yes.
it seems like such a great thing. Yeah, you can do it with others, but yeah, if you're going to do the run, it's a great reason to go solo if you're not going to run with other people.
I will tell you, if you ever want to do solo, this would be a great, let's dip our toe in the water because just by the energy that goes into a Run Disney, you are talking to other people, whether you want to or not. People are talking to you. I met right before my 10K in February. I met she's the grandmother of the current police commissioner of New York City. And yes, and now how did I meet her? Well, my son is going to college in New York City studying musical theater. So she and I just struck up a conversation and just had this amazing, like, oh my gosh, and she's like, well, you need to let me know if he ever gets in trouble. My grandson will be there, and it's like you just by the nature of being present in the moment. So when you do a Run Disney event, there's different points of contact that you can make with people. One, you have to go to the expo, you have to pick up your bib, you got to get your t-shirt, you're buying merchandise. You and I were talking before we started recording. Merch is fun. I'm going to tell you right now, Run Disney merch is probably one of the most fun types of merch you're going to buy because it's only sold at these events.
Well, it's not, it's also sold at the outlet mall a few weeks
Yes.
after the events. And I saw some merch the last time I was there, and I was like, Samantha, you did not earn that Food and Wine 5K, 10K shirt. No, do not wrap it. You did not run it.
Well, and so as a side note to even that, if you go to Disney Springs at
I
Trends, I
love that
want
you were just going to say Downtown Disney.
yes, I was gonna say because
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
where
yeah.
my head is right now. At Disney Springs, so they have a store, and I want to say it's where Trends is or around that area.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, you go in and they have generic Run Disney merch. So throughout the year, they come up with a color scheme, like a color palette, and then they like, okay, so I'll give you this is just the generic Run Disney water bottle, nothing fancy about it. Now I could get stickers for it of different races or whatever, but like sometimes that is just as much fun to get if you're a runner, but you don't run a specific race as much as the actual Run Disney specific merchandise. But yes, there was the hot item for the Princess Run Disney in February was a purple metallic jacket zip up. And so when I tell you that the people that got it were wearing it to obsession, I'm not even lying. Like they were like, yes, we got the jacket. You were not there on
And you're like,
time.
it's also 100 degrees out. Like you could take the jacket off.
Right. And that jacket was $100. So I really don't need $100 like metallic jacket, but God bless you for
Yeah.
wanting it and wearing it. Like,
So
good
one
on
of the
you.
things we mentioned before we started recording was that there are virtual Run Disney events. So you can do like I think it's 5Ks at home over the summer, and they send you medals, and you don't need any proof and all that stuff, which is something that I got started with during the pandemic, which was really cool because I like merchandise. I wanted the medals, but going to Disney during a non-Run Disney event and then picking up a water bottle like that is a great way to also feel part of that system, right? To like flag to others that you do the Run Disney events as well, because that is a point of conversation if you were a person that was going solo and wanted to talk to others.
Yeah, and that's the most fun part because they have just a Run Disney spirit jersey. And so, yeah, you can absolutely go and wear Run Disney merch and go purchase Run Disney merch. And I even liked the virtuals back then because they don't do it anymore. And I wish they did for every race. But let's say hypothetically you wanted to do back in the day a Run Disney virtual half marathon, with one coming up. Before after the pandemic for a couple years, they allowed you to do that, but then they even sent you the t-shirt, not only the medal, but then they sent you the t-shirt that goes with it. And I wish they still did that more because they just did one at Disneyland over Halloween that had the Sampson sisters, but it was like Minnie Mouse and
Oh,
Daisy
I
and all.
that image is the cutest. I don't even
Oh,
like the Sanderson sisters that much. I don't even like Hocus
no.
Pocus 1 that much, but I was like, ooh, Minnie.
I know.
I,
I'm like, this is,
I
and I
wanted
was
that
like,
popcorn bucket so bad.
I'm like, okay, I'll wait till they come out with the virtual. Nope, they did not do a
Oh,
virtual. And I'm like, shoot. But April 1st, they're doing the virtual for the summer. One of the things I think that they have found is there is such an excitement around the virtuals. So they did recently a Valentine's Day virtual, and they're doing Christmas virtuals now. So, and I really think they're really looking at let's get people out the door, keep them working out, and, run walking. That's their big thing with Galloway. And FYI, you can go to the expo and not run a run. So if you want to meet Jeff Galloway and run walk is your method, you can meet Jeff Galloway and not have had to spend, I think right now the dopey is like $735 just to run. So it's like, hey, I don't need to spend that money, but I still want to buy some of the merch and stuff like that. You can go to the expo without having to put all that money
you can put
down
your
on a
money
rate.
towards merchandise. There was a problem though a few years ago with a lot of people coming and then reselling it on eBay, like eBay or whatever. Because I remember the huge outrage, and the outrage seems to have lessened. So I assume they've cracked down on that a bit.
So they've done a virtual queue to get into the
Mm.
merchandise, but when I tell you, there's still super frustration. So I'm going to say, for example, I ran the challenge in February. So what the challenge was a 10K and a half marathon. If I showed up, and I joked about this beautiful lavender
The
purple
the
jacket.
little coat, yeah.
Yes. So as somebody who ran the challenge, I would hope that, maybe I would get first dibs on the challenge merch before they open it up to everyone else. They don't do that, and that's a
Mm.
big push that everyone is making because people still can't. All you have to do is get on the virtual queue and still shop and go in there. So it's still a thing, but not as big of a thing.
Yeah. I just want to say really quickly that when you picked up your water bottle and said that you could put stickers from different races, I thought you meant like racial categories, and I was like, oh, all right. Okay, I guess we're talking about some different things. I guess equality for all. Run
Yeah.
Disney. Cool.
No literal stickers.
Yeah. You can like see what I spend most of my time on, and it's not
Right.
racing like this. Yeah, yeah. So when you so do you go to Disney solo without doing the races at all?
I have one other time. So again, my mom and dad were living in Florida. My mom recently passed away.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry to hear
there
that.
was Oh, yes, thank you. Again, she had had the stroke, so for her, just medically, it was a really tough time.
Yeah.
But that being said, since she's passed away, my brother and I kind of share time going and visiting my dad, just making sure he's all good and whatever. So I went last March. I was there hanging out with him, and I noticed there was an after hours event at Epcot. So we love to do after hours. We'll actually use that as one of our ticket days sometimes to do an after hours because we love just walking on rides. Rides is our thing. So I've never done an Epcot one. So I did. I went, drove my little self over from my dad's place to Epcot, and I was there till like 1 o'clock in the morning. Um, it's,
Love it.
it, it's fun. It's a lot of fun because, again, I'm doing what I want to do when I want to do it. And if I'm over, in one area and I want to run and get a snack in another area, no one's complaining about steps. Like it's just like, okay, I'm going to go do this. So that
So,
was the that was the only other time I've been solo
well,
outside of a
have
run.
you done the like after hours events? Like, how much do you do the parks during your run weekends? Like, do you do the after hours events for the Run Disney events? Do you go to the parks during the day, the like day after the race?
Usually, they don't offer an after hours event during race weekend. The biggest example or caveat to that is Wine and Dine, when as
Mm.
part of your half marathon ticket, you get quote unquote an after hours event at Epcot. So they do throw an after hours party. I wish they did that for all the races. I think that would be such a big seller.
Okay, yes. Someone told me about the after hours event, but I feel like I saw it for one other race as well. It'll be interesting if that maybe is a trend they continue.
I would love it because if they sold it as an after hours thing, I would absolutely do it. I get it, we're up early. And again,
Right,
our
right.
races start at 5 o'clock in the morning. So to give you an example of that, for my 10K, I was up at 2:30 in the morning. And then for my half marathon, I was up at 1:55. So I did my 10K day, I did a whole day. I did all four parks that day at Disney um, with, and again, this is me being a solo runner or solo person at Disney. So my caveat, my parameters at each park were, I had to get, they do, and I have on my, right now I have a couple bracelets on. They have word project. What is that what it's called? Let me
Oh,
hold on.
is that the like friendship bracelet thing? Because I
Yeah.
saw one at Disney Springs and I was like,
Yes, so
yeah,
that's
I
kind of where they started, but now at every single Disney World park, they have a specific park bracelet, little word project. That's what
ooh,
it's called. They
because I
have
was
it.
like, how are they going to stay open? So that's how.
That's how. So they partnered now with Disney. So and I had just found out about this like maybe 2 weeks before my trip. So my whole thing was I have to do either a ride or something specific at the park and find one of these bracelets. So I went to all four parks. I got all the four bracelets. And then when I'm going to tell you Epcot's the hardest. And if anyone wants to do this, I'm going to tell you it's at the little kiosk. Store between Mexico and Canada, like
Yeah,
those,
yeah, world, yeah,
that,
the
yeah,
like the gateway stores.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gateways. It is not at Connections like it should be. And I was very like, I walked around that store probably 10 times looking and it's not there. It's at but so all four parks, they each have their own bracelet. And then the other ones, I either did a ride or like at Animal Kingdom, I walked the Majarahi Jungle Trail because I wanted to see the new baby cubs. So my daughter would have loved that. My husband would not have. So, I was able to do that. And I was also able to gauge, I was up at 2:30 in the morning that day. So I was also able to gauge where's my energy level at. And if I don't use I did not only the park hopper, but I did the lightning lanes. So if I didn't use all my lightning lanes, okay, too bad, that's fine too. Like I don't care.
Right. So
Oh, and
it's
then
funny. Sorry, please.
the other thing I did that day was I did a character breakfast at the Riviera.
Oh, the Topolinos.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's really great.
That's the best.
Yeah, yeah.
And when and if you are not there on a Run Disney event, I will tell you a character breakfast is such a great way to like not feel like, oh, I'm over, like this is pressure to meet characters and I don't know what to do or say. It was so chill. It was so fun.
Yeah, and Topolino's is, I mean, I talk about like doing character dining as a solo. It is a great thing. And I'll say like during lunches too, it gives you a chance to like sit down and because I was like really pleasantly surprised at Hollywood and Vine at Hollywood Studios. Like anyway, but Topolino's is a really good one because it is such a sophisticated type of restaurant
Yes.
that you can feel like an adult, like quote unquote an adult, as well as enjoying the charm of the characters. So I think that if you're on the fence about like a character meal as a solo, that's a good one because you can be like, oh, right, this is kind of like an adult space. And then you're
Right.
like, but also Mickey's coming.
I know, and the characters are so like if you wear something that they're like, oh my gosh, and they
Yeah.
interact with you, but they kind of, I think, enjoy having a little adult interaction as much as anything because they're so used to like, with kids or whatever. But then you also get the panoramic views up there. So
Yeah.
if you just sit and look outside, like that in and of itself is just a really cool
It
opportunity.
really is. And I actually bumped into a woman at my local nail salon, and she was a friend of a mouse character. And I was like, oh, oh, oh my God. Oh my God. Hey Solos, it's Samantha from the Editing Bay. Sorry this sounds really weird. I'm multitasking as I am editing. I just wanted to clarify for those of you who don't know this parlance. When you say that there is someone who is a friend of a character, that means they played that character. In other words, it's the person that was in the costume. But because there is only one Mickey Mouse, right? You can't say like I played Mickey Mouse, rather you were friends with Mickey Mouse even though you were that person in that costume. That I talked about that conversation with the woman from the nail salon in the Christmas episode where I also played the joyful joyful songs from the Epcot Festival of the Holidays. So you can check that out if you're interested in a longer version of the story. So I asked her, like, what is it like to have adults, like solo adults, come up to you? And she's like, actually, we do love it because they understand that we aren't real, but we are real so that we can like be a part of a different form of like playing in a way that it's just different with kids. And so I was like, well, that's good. That's good to know that all these like college kids are like, oh, okay, great. We can do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and again, I have a son that's 20 and a daughter that's 16. So whoever is, a friend of that character is probably somebody I interact with on a more regular
Yeah.
basis. And so like I'm used to interacting with,
Yeah.
oh, you look really cute
Yeah,
today.
yeah. I wanted to mention a couple things about like those long run days as a non-runner. So first, I'm very much a night owl. So oftentimes, especially right now because I'm writing full time, I'm going to bed at 3 in the morning. So when you say like 2:30, I'm just like, God, that's like almost bedtime. It'd be very weird to be waking up at that time. But the in February 2020, I went to Disney with my mom, and it was the princess weekend, and we didn't realize that. And so I had said to her, like, we don't need to go first thing in the morning because all the runners are going to be there. We'll go later in the afternoon, which was a mistake because runners went back, napped, and then came back. And it was just really interesting that we were like, is Epcot filling up with more people? Like at every pavilion, it feels like there's more people. So I think that's a good tip for non-runners on run weekends. Go to the parks in the
Yes.
morning.
Yeah, so I went to Anna. So I literally went home, showered. I got done with my race at, I don't know, 6:30 or something like that. Jumped on the bus, showered, was able to, oh, here's the other thing, take advantage of mobile order. Because when I tell you that is a game changer, I am on a bus, just finished a run, I'm cold, I'm sweaty or whatever. I'm going to order myself a breakfast with a cup of coffee, pick it up on my way to my room. I stayed, and I didn't say this yet. Yeah, on February, I stayed at Riverside.
Mm.
I walked maybe a
It's
third
so
of that.
weird. It's so weird because I literally was just picturing you at Riverside. I don't know why. So there we go. I'm just psychic for
Yes,
hotels.
I was in, if anyone wants like if anyone knows Riverside, I was in 2501. So I was in the Bayou. I got lost on my way there trying to find my room, but once I found it, but I was literally 300 feet from that second or the Bayou bus station.
Hmm.
So for me, steps were not an issue because I kind of knew where I was. And by the way, it was super quiet. I was
Yeah,
by the
Riverside's
quiet
great.
pool. Oh, it was fun. I would, if you are into wanting quiet peace and whatever, and or as a solo person, I am somebody who I just like to walk around and explore. This is a perfect place to be because you have access to everything. I didn't run into a lot of people unless I like put myself out on a busier trail. But then the mobile ordering, I just literally walked through. My stuff was ready to go. I walked out. So I never even had to like sit in a busy cafeteria style location if I didn't want to. So, but that being said, yes, I went, so I got on the first bus to Animal Kingdom. Nobody was at Animal Kingdom. That was so it was like, I walked around, it was super quiet. But by the time I got to Epcot, that was my third park. When I tell you that Living with the Land was 30 minutes, that should speak volumes on how busy that park was. And that was close to like 3:33, 4 o'clock. So
Okay, first Riverside is really great. I talk about that on the podcast all the time. I've called it textured chill because it's so immersive that you could really just walk around and like literally tell stories through the like foliage through the parks. It is a great hotel. Um but it's so interesting because like if Epcot was your third park, then it would have been like the same time that we would have hit the park as well. Yeah, like I actually would tell people just to avoid run weekends if you aren't part of the run. But there's also just a really like fun energy, especially the Princess Weekend. Like I feel like there's just like a lot of like gal pal women. There's just like a lot of like really good, just kind of like community feminine energy. Did you go in
yeah,
costume?
I did. So I went, and I'm going to say as a caveat to that too. If you are somebody who follows YouTubers, a lot of them attend these events. So if
Mm.
that's kind of your thing, they have meetups and stuff like that during this weekend. So if you are a solo person and you just want to come and meet with some YouTubers or whatever, you will get a lot of opportunities or podcasters in order in around these run Disney events.
Not
I
this
went,
podcaster.
yeah,
Um,
not you, unless you're with
no.
your mom on
Well,
a
maybe I'll
random
greet you. I'll
weekend.
greet you at the buses. I'll be like, "Hey, I'm just about to go to bed. Have fun running."
Yay, I'm just getting home.
Yeah.
So the first day I went, I am not okay. So I will tell you this. As a runner, I take myself way too seriously. And if I see someone in a generic race in a tutu, my goal is now to beat you. Like that's just where my brain goes. If if that were my goal at a Run Disney event, I'm screwed
Yeah.
because everybody's wearing something. So my tank top, I had a black tank top for the 10K, and my black tank top said, "This is my princess costume."
Love
And
it.
so, yes. And so then, that was, and then I think, did I wear a crown or something? I might have worn something, but that was it was just for fun. Then again, I mentioned my son is a musical theater major. So when I was visiting him, he just had the lead in Little Women at his college musical. So I went to visit him and I went to see Wicked because I refuse to see the movies unless I knew the whole thing because it's a part one and part two. I'm like, I can't, I'm sorry, again, type A personality. You cannot give me a year between part one and part two. So I'm like,
That's a
screw you,
very
who's
long
ever,
intermission.
yeah, I'm like, screw you, who's ever directing this and doing this. I'll just go to the musical like in Broadway. So I did. So my costume, I was Glinda the Good Witch for my Run Disney, and I bought a shirt that said popular, and I had the biggest pink tutu that I could find because that's what Glinda does. And I ran with my little wand and I had my little crown. And I had, like you were talking earlier about people that like are part of this energy and stuff. Volunteers were singing popular as I'm running through to get my water, and I'm having, cast members shouting, "Hey, so you don't even have to be a Disney character if you don't want to. People just love to interact with you and, like shout you out and it was because I got up at 1:30 in the morning for the half marathon. I was exhausted after spending all day in the parks, getting up at 1:30 and whatever. And so that energy of people just shouting about Glinda and all that was super fun.
That's
Very, very,
awesome. That's awesome.
yes.
I love that because I think one of the reasons why Disney is such a great place to go solo is because you're just entering this community, right? You're entering already into this like energetic community, and it's so easy, it's so safe to just like lean into it, be like, yeah, all right, this is what we're doing. Like, excellent. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you are somebody who maybe running is not 100% your thing, but maybe you want to try a Run Disney event, get on YouTube and watch some YouTubers, listen to some podcasts, because I think what you'll do is you will find comfort in it. You will kind of get
Mm,
an eyeball in terms of how it is. And it is what you see on the YouTube videos is a third of the energy you feel. Like it is, you are in a dance party, you are seeing, I think I saw 10K, I think, well, I saw you see characters you never see otherwise. Like I met the three fairies. I took a picture with the three
oh, that's so
fairies.
exciting. See?
I took a,
Ah,
yeah,
if
I
only I
know.
didn't have to run.
Well, and that's kind
I
of
know, if
people's
only I didn't have to walk.
motivation. And I did that. What else? Oh, I did. Oh, and you get to run through the castle. So you get, as part of your half marathon, you get to run through the castle. And then they open up the trail between the Grand Floridian and Disney, and they brought out the electric parade. So
Oh,
you get
that's
to see
great.
that's going during your run. I saw the Haggard Witch from Snow White with the apple. I got to take a picture with
That's
her.
awesome.
And it's like depending on the theme, they really try to base the characters around those themes and they try to bring out rare characters. So, like during my half marathon or my dopey, I think I took a picture with like 25 different characters
That's
along
so
the
cool.
way. It's super cool. And as a runner, like as somebody, so if you are somebody who's like, well, running's my thing, how am I going to get motivated? I forced myself at every race, I have to take a picture with so many characters. Like for the 10K, I had to stop at least twice. For the half, I had to stop at least six. For the marathon, 10. So it was like because that's a whole, like you were talking about, a whole nother level of energy that, even the characters are having fun and they're wishing you good luck. I had Tiana saying, good luck,
You're like, good
congratulations.
luck
And
to me.
I'm
Like,
like,
I'm so glad you're
oh,
not a frog anymore.
exactly,
Can you
exactly.
show that picture that you showed me before we started recording?
Yes. So this is from my dopey challenge. So you run through and then you dip out and then they have you stand here where there's nobody behind you and it's just you and the castle. And then you run through it. You run around it and then you run through it on your way back.
Love
So
it. What a great souvenir. And I love too, Jenna, that you're coming in with such like runner energy because you're you're also saying like how great it is as an entry point for novices or people who aren't runner energy, but then someone that has a lot of runner energy cred and a lot of like cred in terms of the different half marathons and things like that that you've done or qualified for to say like I can participate in this too and not feel like my athletic achievement isn't quite the same because I'm in this situation.
exactly. And I will tell you, so when you register, you do one of two things. You either tell them what time you hope to finish, or if you've had prior races, you give them that prior time, and then that's how they base you in what corral you're in. So corral A is the fastest, and then it can go all the way to like G or F. And who is in G or F, those are your what they call balloon ladies. So the last people to start the race are balloon ladies, and they literally have a cute little balloon tied to their little pouches, and they run and they start running at a 16-minute mile pace. So they maintain that through the whole thing. So if they pass you, that means you are at risk of being picked up, where you then don't finish. You still get your medal and everything, you just don't finish the race with everybody else. And that's for some people, that's sometimes their goal. They want to start with the balloon ladies. They've had an injury, they've been sick for the last 3 or 4 months. They want to start the race because maybe they just want to get to the castle or they know there's a particular character they want. They're like, okay, I just have to stay ahead of the balloon ladies until this point, and then whatever is after that, I'm golden. I feel good. I get in an air conditioned like vehicle with water and
I
juice,
mean,
and
that sounds
I'm
kind
I'm
of amazing, actually.
yeah, I know. And it's like, I'm happy with that because the mayor for the half marathon, the castle, and you only get to do this for Dopey Marathon weekend and Princess, is at 5 miles. So if you can get through 5 miles, you get to run through the castle.
Right.
And then, after that, if you want to stick with it, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. My proof of time was pretty fast. So I got to start in the A corral, which means I am literally I'm with other runners. So I'm with people who are as weird as I am about their running. And then I literally just walk up to characters, get a picture taken, and I keep running. So if you are that person, you will have equally as much fun as somebody that is just starting out and they call it the party corrals in the back because they are giggling, they are laughing, they are dancing with the DJs along the way, and they are having just as much fun.
I love
So,
that. I love that. What is one thing that you would encourage a solo traveler during a Run Disney event to to do or to eat or to see in a way that is kind of different than their normal going to Disney with family or whatever?
yes, I would say so there's some really, really good podcasts. And again, really positive energy like Run and Rise, Rise and Run. That's a really good one. They're very specific. Run Fit Fab, they do different races, but they also do a lot of Disney specific stuff. By doing that, and what I was doing when I listened to my podcasts, and this is the way I do it differently than if I'm training, like for something that's more streetwise, like a Brooklyn half marathon or something like that. I always start out with a podcast before I transition to music because a podcast keeps me slower because I'm
Mm,
like listening to the content. When you are training for a Run Disney event, there are a lot of run walkers. And run walking, it's the Jeff Galloway method is who's popular or the most popular Disney one out there. But it's your pace, your time. So I'm going to walk for 30 seconds, run for 30 seconds. If I'm going to walk for a minute and run for 30 seconds, you do you. Like there's no rules around what that looks like. But I found listening to podcasts help kind of keep me accountable to being a little bit slower with my pace. That's where I would listen to a lot more of those podcasts around running because I'm listening to people talking about the thing that I'm getting ready to do. And that's always fun for me. So,
yeah, I love that. I love that. I think that's great. You also listen to this podcast. Not, I mean, I'm
oh,
sure Jenna, you
100%.
already do, but like for other people like listening now, be like, yeah, listen to this running, and I just talk.
Well, and truthfully, so I found you because I was going to be going solo in February for my Run Disney. So even just talking about what does solo look like and what are some
Mm,
suggestions and recommendations, that is equally as fun because there's a lot of us around doing these events, but we're doing it on our own and finding our people in the midst of it. So clearly I found you. And so that you were part of my runs. You went on some runs with me.
oh, well, good. Well, then I feel like I should also get a medal. So next time I'm at the outlet mall and I see a medal, I'll be like, oh, I earned this because Jenna listened to me maybe a little bit when she was running Disney event and just thinking about it was in the air.
Yes, 100%. You get that shirt.
Yeah. Okay, great. I'll get the shirt. I'll get the shirt. Not the jacket. I didn't earn that. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we wrap it up?
I would say if you were going to be doing it specific to a Run Disney event, you had mentioned food.
Mm,
Know what you eat when you're training because love Disney, but Disney can do the work on your stomach. So
mm,
trying new foods as a runner is always a no-go right before a race. So if you are not a coffee drinker, stay away from coffee, or if you are somebody that eats before a run, practice getting up. And I know this sounds ridiculous. practice getting up at 2:30 in the morning, like right before your race, and see how your stomach feels. My
Mm.
stomach does not like to eat at 2:30 in the morning. It's usually mid-race at a Run Disney event where I'm like, ooh, that smells good. Whatever they're cooking right there, like that smells really good. So practice some of that behavior like before you actually get out there. Again, I don't do the Galloway run walk method, but part of what they do, which I absolutely love and I think is a great idea, is if you're going to be running multiple races, run those a few days in a row. So I'm going to run a 5K. Well, what does that look like? I'm going to get up and do a 5K today. Okay, now I'm going to do a 6.2 miler the next day or a half the next day. Try a lot of that out. And we were just talking about costumes. Let me tell you right now, practice in your costume. If
Mm.
you are going full glam, full out, and you don't want your neighbors to think you've lost it and sign you up for the psychiatric ward, get on a treadmill or run when it's still dark out. Because I will tell you, skirts can chafe in weird ways that running pants don't. So, or crowns can
Would
pinch.
anyone, would anyone run in a skirt without shorts underneath?
Some people do, and it's always a mistake. Let
Oh
me
my
just
God,
say
like,
that.
oh my God, that's just so horrible. I mean, I don't even wear dresses without anything underneath, like let alone running. That seems
I
a
know. I
terrible
well,
decision.
and I will even say, so okay, so this may be a little TMI, but one, there's plenty of porta potties to go, so please use
Okay.
them. There's also, if you can run into a park, they have their bathrooms open. So
Ooh.
always a suggestion if you can, because when you walk into Epcot, those bathrooms are open, and then if you can save yourself for a park, then that's a win. But that being said, chafing is different. I'm from a cold climate. I live in Iowa. So when I run, it's right now maybe 30, 40 degrees outside. When I ran in February, there's a thing called humidity in in Florida. Guess what happens with humidity? You sweat more, and God bless our female bodies, we chafe more. So, and you chafe in ways that you did not realize. So body glides are a big deal. Knowing what
Hmm.
bras to wear, knowing what pants to wear, all that kind of stuff. That's why I always say practice what you're gonna wear before, just so you know what works for you and what doesn't.
I think that if you are kind of a novice runner, or athletic person, I think what would be like a really great plan for you, and I think that the like sign up for Run Disney would actually really support this, to give yourself like a year goal. Like next February, I'm going to do the 5K, 10K, maybe the half marathon. But then throughout the year, like set yourself up with all these mini challenges, maybe do the virtual walks. There's also cheaper virtual runs and walks that you also get medals for. Again, I did those during the pandemic on my treadmill. And like set yourself up and then do like practice all those things. Like practice wearing something a little different if you're thinking of doing a costume, so that it becomes like this year-long thing. And especially if you are interested in doing it solo, it becomes a way to like connect with yourself in creating a situation in which like the Run Disney event is like the pinnacle. But then what's great is that it's the pinnacle, but you can also do more after that. It doesn't
Yes,
have to
well, and
stop there.
and as you were saying that, like I do a lot of virtual runs for charity because there's a lot of great charities. So you can actually do a Run Disney event for charity as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And
right.
and that's a natural integration into also connecting with other people because then you get on these Facebook pages with all these other people running for the same charity. You guys may get a connection, a hookup before the races, and then you got some people you can run with. So if that's your thing, it's a phenomenal way to raise money for some charities as well.
Yeah, I love this so much. This has been such a great talk. Thank you so much for getting in touch. And while you were saying, "Oh, I like to listen to podcasts," I was like, "You know what? Next time I'm up at 2:30 in the morning, which is probably going to be like 12 hours from now, I should like record a little episode and post it on the Run Disney days that it's just like, hey, like sometimes you can be very energetic at 2:30 in the morning. And like,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
it's funny because my sister who lives in Europe, we're 6 hours ahead. So I'm like, never call me at 10 in the morning, but you can call me at 4 in the morning. I'll be awake. So anyway, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to record a special little intro before the next Disney event, and I'll post it early when people are getting on the buses if people want a cheery little voice.
Yes, well, and that's what I do on the buses and in the corrals, because you're in the corral for like an hour. I'll listen to podcasts just to like,
Yeah.
wake up my brain and kind of get me excited and stuff like that, especially because I listen to podcasts when I run too. So that's
Yeah. Yeah.
fun.
I love that. I love that. This has been so, so wonderful. Thank you so much. How can people follow you or get in touch with you?
I am on Instagram. That is right now my only thing. Well, I do Snapchat with my kids, but I'm kind of a snob when it comes. I deleted Facebook because I needed to love my family and not their judgment. So I
It's
no
a good way
longer
to
on
say that.
Facebook.
Yeah.
But I
It's
am
a good
on
way to say that.
Instagram if anyone follows.
Yeah. Okay, great. And again, the link will be below. Thank you so much. This was just really wonderful and really informative. Like, yeah, it was really informative for me too. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. All right. Until we meet again, talk again. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey Solos, it's Samantha. I hope you liked this episode as well as all the episodes of Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World. You can support this podcast by rating, reviewing, subscribing, and sharing this podcast on Apple, Spotify, and on the YouTube platforms. However, you can also support this podcast and build the Disney Solo Magic community by joining us on Patreon. We have 3 different tiers at different price points, starting at $2 American, and I'm hoping that it'll be a really great place that you can meet other people, both get and share tips and tricks for solo travel to Disney World, and to create larger conversations about how to bring Disney Solo Magic into your everyday life. So please join us. The link to the Patreon is below.